crew. We saw the Elise banding out.
Yeah, Elise banned out there again. An aggressive jungler, one that can get right up in your face. All in Impaler's style, really.
And now Impaler, we will see if he goes to the Sing Sao or he has something else. I've seen him play Olaf before, but I don't know if he still plays it.
Final ban out. Look at Darian there. He's forced a Warwick ban. That's what he's been aiming for with these picks. And you said you weren't convinced, and I'm sure Darian's just been playing it just so that he could get it banned out against him at some point. And he's all happy about that. Gambit say, okay, that leaves some other options open. Any one of them will lock that in for Edward.
Top support right now for one of the best supports in Europe, who loves to make plays. Scary, scary pickup for Gambit. And both Dr. Mundo and Shyvana is open, so there's no reason really to pick, one of them right now, because the other team can just take the other one. If SUPA should go Shyvana and Dr. Mundo now, they take Impaler away from his comfort zone, which is the early game junglers, and Gambit knows this.
And also worrying what Darian's going to play now his Warwick's been taken out of there. We'll have to see if anything else comes out. Yasuo, we know that he's been playing a lot of games with that one, is still open in this matchup, although we've seen a win and a loss with Yasuo. For me, still not had that big of an impact on the games. We'll get to that if it actually comes around. SUPA crew here have 10 seconds left to lock in their first choices, and it will be the Mundo and a Thresh here as a second pick. I think we can almost certainly say Shyvana over for Gambit.
High chance at least that we see a Shyvana, unless they have something else versus Dr. Mundo. Dr. Mundo has the issue that he's very weak in the early game, so you can pick some kind of different laners versus him and get a lot of free farm in the start. But the fresh pick for Mixa, we just talked about that he didn't play the owner, so he has to go for the fresh right now, and we have seen him dominate the lane together with Mr. Alice, though with Lucian, who's banned away.
Yep, Lucian banned out. Jinx was already taken here by Genja, so that leaves a couple of different options open. We may be seeing Twitch here, which is the first time we've seen Twitch if that gets locked in, but Caitlyn obviously still there. A more realistic option, I think, right now.
If you love to play Lucian and he's banned away, you go for Caitlyn. They remind a little bit about each other, long range poke, good wave player, and Mr. Alice is also a very good Caitlyn player. Yeah. Together with Fresh, they have a very strong lane, especially versus Annie, where they can poke her if she tries to go to zone them. Jinx pick though, together with Annie, we've seen it before. The level 6 burst you can do is very scary.
Well, we'll see once we get to that point of things. You can see Moops there on your screen. He's looking a little bit frustrated, maybe, feeling the pressure here on stage. I mean, SUPA Hot Crew, they've not had the best of times recently in in the games that they've played. They've got a win under their belt, which is always a great thing. And against Alliance, it's not exactly an easy team to beat, that's for sure. We'll see if they can do a similar thing against Gambit. Their last two picks now coming in. We can see there the Kha'Zix was hovered over, the Kayle, both champions that Alexic has played a lot of in the past.
Yeah, and the Kayle pickup now is actually very, very smart, because with Caitlyn, you want to go to late game, you want to get her those 5-6 items where she can really start to carry. Kayle is the same way. If you go too late versus a Kayle, not good. At the same time though, we just have to quickly touch on the Sing Sao pick. This is hurting SUPA Hot Crew a lot in the champ select. They have so few picks for some of their key players, and it's so easy to ban them out right now, and Gambit has gotten a star lineup.
Yeah, we see there, Shyvana, we expected it to come down at some point in the game. It will actually come down and be in the top lane there for Darian, and that Kayle coming in for Alexic. And as you said, we've seen Kayle's doing incredible work if it gets late enough for into the game. I mean, Ninjas in Pajamas, unfortunately for you guys, were, destroyed by a Kayle. Overpower's Kayle was just ridiculous because it got to that stage in the game.
It was ridiculous, but if Moops decides to go with Gragas, it's a pretty decent pickup versus Kayle. You will be able to get some kills, or at least try and get some kills early game. I expect our Diamond to have a lot of action in the mid lane and try and help Alex out, get through the laning phase. If we do see Gambit going to late game with this combo, they will be able to instant burst down everything, even at Dr. Mundo, and Sing Sao is going to fall a lot in his power.
Well, in terms of Gragas, Moops has played Gragas, and a little bit more Gragas, so kind of fits his positioning perfectly, and he'll be quite happy to get his hands on that one. But overall, composition-wise, we talked about Impaler and how imperative it is that he gets a champion that he feels comfortable on. Xin Zhao has been his almost second go-to champion if his others are banned away from him, Vi being that #1 really. Is he going to be good enough here? Is he going to feel confident enough and be able to make the plays with Xin Zhao compared to someone like Diamond on Lee Sin?
Well, Xing Zhao has a lot of early game pressure. He can also duel Lee Sin. Lee Sin has more mobility, can get around on the map faster, but if he manages to find where Diamond is, maybe do a counter gang on him, he can actually shut him down early and try and snowball from there. I expect the top lane to be left alone quite a bit. I expect the SUPA crew to have a lot of focus on both the mid and the bot lane. I know that's easy for me to say because we know how they focus on everything, but if they can manage to snowball Gragas or snowball Mr. Rallis in the bot lane, try and get him an early lead, they might actually be able to close this game out before we go too late.
Well, before we get the game underway, let's see who you guys at home are favouring for this one. And I can tell you what, it's a massive number for Gambit. 92% of you thinking that Gambit are going to win this one. 8% of you, though, sticking behind the SUPA crew. I'm great at maths.
You're very good at math. I'll give you that. I will agree, though, with the votes right here, especially also judging from the lineups on both.
Yeah, I think the form would tell us that that 92% is probably not too far off the mark. But here we go then. We're going to get into game. It's Gambit versus the SUPA Hot Crew. Game number 4 here in our final day of Super Week. And what a Super Week it's been so far. Let's have a look down some of the early items here as they come out of base. Pretty standard across the board with those Doran's items.
It couldn't actually be more standard right now. Except for maybe the pause we have pretty much every game so far in the start.
Standard.
Standard again. Everything is pretty standard.
Just to get them, you know, these guys kind of move in there, get themselves set up as quickly as possible. Sometimes these little things slip through the net. Apparently Diamond just needs to restart his client and we should be able to get things back underway.
Let's touch on something though. SUPA Hot Crew has quite a decent setup to kill a Jinx. If Moops can come in and throw him back with his ultimate into the face of, for instance, a Xing Zhao, he will be able to burst them down pretty fast. And they have quite some knock-up. They have the Flay from Fresh and the hook to also pull a target into them. They can actually do quite a lot when the team fight starts to split everything up.
The two ultimates there of Gragas and Xin Zhao are going to disperse a fight completely. And with the box in there, you're knocking everyone through the walls.
And this can actually be very good versus a Kayle. If they can manage to single a target out, knock it away from Alex, or knock Alex away from the target, he won't be able to ultimate and they can kill this target down. But Shyvana is going to be an issue for them late game. Caitlyn is not able to kill a Shyvana 1v1 before we go to at least 50 minutes. So they actually need someone to stay with Mr. Alice and do some damage. If that is Moops, he won't really be able to kill the Jinx, and then we have the issue.
What did you think about the whole counter jungling thing we mentioned already? We all know how aggressive Diamond is on that front. And you know, playing Lee Sin here, we've seen him with the Shyvana early on in the week doing that. How important is that going to be in this match?
I mean, if Gambit can manage to get control of the mid lane and shove that off to the tower, Diamond can do all the counter jungling he wants because Alex can then move out and help him. If, on the other hand, though, Moops has the advantage and pushes Alex down, then Diamond has to stay back, can't go too aggressive.
So here we go then. We see Mima and Darian. It's that what's becoming basically the top lane matchup, Shyvana versus Mundo. I'd love to see some stats on how many times we've actually seen this matchup because it feels like almost every game.
It feels like almost every game, but for Gambit, this is not necessarily too bad, because Darren will have all control of the lane in the start. He can push Mundo down, meaning more room for Diamond to roam. If Diamond manages to get Alex ahead, I just touched on it before, both the solo lanes from Gambit will actually have the advantage, and they can shut SUPA Hot Crew down pretty early.
Well, Mima has produced some great play on Mundo so far. That win against Alliance a little bit earlier on in the week was obviously the highlight for them. And he's managing to hit pretty much every briefcase at this point.
It's almost like we've seen this level 1 before in pretty much every game so far.
Yeah.
What's coming down, we're 130, everyone will move to the lane. We'll now get standard 2v2 and 1v1.
Well, let's see this bottom lane, surely to be an interesting one with how Mr. Rals and Mixer have played over the course of the season so far. On the other side, though, you know, Genja and Edward reunited after the last one, as we are going to see Mixie face checking in. The stun is actually up here for Edward. He's going to stun down onto Rals, and the damage a little bit unfocused between them, and SUPA Hot Crew getting the better of that trade.
Mixer was definitely ready for this. He had his play already instantly ready to be popped when he face-checked the bush, and they actually went out pretty even in the trade.
Oh, interesting little start here down on the bottom side. There's a ward in there for Mixer as well, and he's just going to continue to harass as much as he possibly can there. And obviously with that range of Caitlyn, he can actually stay in the minion line and still auto-attack.
That's the thing with Caitlyn right now. She has so much lane control, and Super Hot Crew is pushing the lane. They will hit level 2 before, and we might actually see them go for a kill like they did versus SK Gaming.
If the hook lands once Mixer hits level 2, it could be very, very dangerous. Speaking of level 2, mid laners are now up at that level with Alex Ich and Moops both hitting that one on their Kale versus Gragas matchup. And there is level 2. Here comes Mixer and he lands the hook in as well. The Flay will knock Edward back, but can they get the finisher? Edward going low, and it's going to be a 90 caliber net. First blood there for Mr. Rals.
The bot lane from Super Hot Crew doing it again. They hit level 2 first and instantly they go. Edward makes the mistake though. He flashes in a straight line versus a hook.
Bad news for Gambit, but that news might get a little bit better for them here because look at this. Diamond waiting off to the side. Mixer is actually recalling, and Diamond is started to back away from that one. So it doesn't look like they're going to get too far in with the action. Rals needs to be careful there though.
Impaler is moving towards the Raves. He might potentially... Oh, we see Diamond coming in.
There's the net actually coming out. There's going to be a zap landing, but I'm not sure he's got the damage here before Rals gets under the tower. And actually, Rals did pretty much more damage there than Diamond was able to achieve.
And this was really good for Super Hot Crew because they have vision on Diamond now. Impaler knows he can try a risk-free gank on the mid lane if he goes in right now. And Alex is overextended.
And that is exactly what's going to happen as the belly slam comes in. Alex going to go low and actually forced to flash away there to his turret.
Great start right here by Super Hot Crew. They're doing everything right in the early game, and the bot lane can snowball this advantage.
We'll see if they do that. We have Rals who didn't go back from that one. Obviously, we did see Mixer heading back home, and he's going to come back in with wards. Got obviously that Doran shield from a little bit earlier on as well. But Gambit have now pushed this lane up onto the Super Hot Crew tower.
Now, Genji needs to go recall, get some... Oh no, actually, he might actually stay in the lane just because Mr. Rales is staying in the lane. When Mr. Rales decides to recall, though, he will have an item advantage over Genji, and it's from there on we're really going to see the pressure on Genji and Edward.
Does that mean that Diamond's going to have to spend more time getting down into this bottom lane, whereas we expect that to come in the middle mostly to help out Alex?
I mean, if Impaler goes towards the mid lane again, Alex will be in huge trouble. He has no flash, and he has no jumps as a Kale. So Diamond will have to be around, at least to help Alex, if it should happen.
Now, a bit of an update on that statistic from earlier. Mundo versus Shyvana. It's happened twice this week. It seems like a lot more than 2 times, I have to say, as we are going to see Moops coming in on towards Alex. That's a lot of damage coming in. Moops going to pick up the kill, and there is the knock-up onto Diamond. But I tell you what, he's doing a lot of damage. Flash from Impaler. It's all going to be about the next Q from Diamond, and it goes straight down the middle.
Great dodge right here from Super Hot Crew, and great play from Impaler. He is so aggressive early game, and he gives Moves the lead. Nice play by Super Hot Crew.
Really well done from that one, and Diamond going to be kicking himself, that's for sure, because it's not often that you see him have 2 targets in front of him and not at least hit, well, obviously he can only hit one of them, but hit one of them with that Q going in. There's a hook actually on towards Edward, and he's going to take a lot of damage. Lantern use here by Ross to get in. That's a good solid stun though from Edward to keep him safe.
And Edward is very tanky already. Due to his Molten Shield, it gives him 20 armor and 20 magic resist at level 1. That is a huge deal. Great hook by Mixer though, but he did use his flash.
Oh, that hook was actually perfectly aimed as well, just a slight bit out of range, sadly enough for Mixer and Super Hot Crew there. Well, this is really going their way. Vamp Scepter is now what Mr. Rals comes back into lane with us against a double Doran's Blade. As once again, they're going to go in heavy here on towards Edward. The Chomper's going to catch up Mixer. Have they got the damage to finish this one off? Here comes Diamond, and it will be Genji that gets a kill back. Much needed there for Gambit.
World-class bait coming out from Edward. He walks straight into the face of Mixer. Mixer thinks, I can go on this, I can pick up a kill. But Diamond is there. Perfect play by Edward.
Baited out completely from that one. Alex, who of course died earlier on, got himself a Fiendish Codex in there, and Genji even going aggressive now on Rals. And if we look at the levels there, Genji is ahead on that.
Genji is ahead. He stayed in lane even after Edward died for the first part, so he got solo XP. Meaning right now also due to the kill they picked up on Mixer, Genji and Edward are actually ahead in this lane.
And we did see Impaler coming in there and maybe giving away a little bit of the fact that Mr. Rals did push himself position-wise quite far up that lane. And in the end, no, not falling for that one. Impaler backs off.
I'm actually very surprised right now that Mimir is doing so well in the lane. He just used his teleport to get back in the lane and get some more farm, while Shyvana is gonna not recall, but he actually went in toward the red. exactly going to do much from it, or is he going to try and go and stop it?
This could be interesting here. We do not have a smite actually for Impaler. He used it to start the red buff off, and Darian's going to try and be cheeky from this one. He doesn't quite make it work out though. He's done a lot of damage to Impaler, but we'll see if he can actually finish him off with that Ignite Burden. Surely a kill. Yes, it will be. Darian gets his red buff anyway in the end.
Such a great move by Darian right here. Super Hard Crew expect him to be recalled and buy. Instead, he goes in. Oh, move's actually going in.
That is a lot of damage on towards Diamond. A good kickback, and Alex is going to come in as well. Diamond still waiting in. Safeguard straight over onto the ward to get out of that scenario. Again, showing his expert on Lee Sin.
Darian just recalled when he body slammed over the wall. There was no flash on moves. Had Darian been there still, he would have died and they could have picked up the mid tower.
Such an interesting start to this one. We're 8 minutes in and 4 kills already. Hopefully a sign of things to come in this matchup. As Impaler heads down towards his blue buff, that will be gifted over to Moops here in just a second. Diamond actually going low, doing his own red, but don't expect him to go down from that one.
But I love the way Gambit tackles this game. They know Super Hard Crew needs to win the early game. So Darian goes in, wards the red buff, and he punishes Impaler for having no flash due to the fight in mid lane early on, and he even gets a red buff from it.
And we mentioned in the top lane that actually Mima doing a really good job here against Darian, leading the farm by about 10. But now that Darian's, growing to the stage where he's quite happy to go between the towers to head off into the enemy jungle, that's where he could start to catch up. And actually he's going straight down to mid here.
Yeah, he's going to do the raves, and he can potentially go in for a gank on moves, but they don't really have any CC to lock him down, so I don't expect him to want to use his ultimate on it. He's most likely just going to return back to the top lane and pick up some more farm.
There's Alex actually coming in now that Darian has made himself known, and in the end Moops just using the body slam to get back to the turret. There we just saw once again Diamond headed in towards this bottom lane.
Diamond is sneaking into this bottom lane. Mixer still has no flash. If they manage to land a stun with the tippers from Edward, they can pick up a rather easy kill.
Ward's actually going down there in the front brush. We see that Impaler has started to move in there as well. There's a good bit of damage, and that Lantern coming down. Are they going to make an attempt for this one? Mid lane there was just an exchange actually. Alexic going very low as that last barrel connecting in, and Impaler is still waiting for this one. I can only imagine that they're waiting for that Lantern to actually come down off cooldown so that he can get in there quickly.
Moops right now though is dominating Alex in the mid lane. Not too much on farm, but he's going to keep extending this lead, and next time he has ultimate, he will try and go for a kill again. We do see Diamond coming in though.
Yep, coming in Moops. That's still pretty healthy, and there's the Q dodged away from once again by Moops. And Diamond not having the biggest of successes, to be honest, with that Q. But here comes the Lantern gank down bottom. That is a great set of chompers to hold up Thresh. There's the Tibbers coming down as well. Oh, the damage coming right back. Impaler going extremely low from it. Flash from Edward won't be enough to keep him alive. And now it's 2 of them versus Genja. They realize they can't finish him off. But that was great from the Super Hard Crew.
Great gank from Super Hard Crew here. The Tibbers actually blocked the hook, and Genja almost picked up a kill on Impaler. But in the end, Mr. Rales picks up a very nice kill. He has to use his flash though, which means we might see Diamond coming bot.
Now, let's have another look at that one. We saw the Lantern to start things off.
And notice the Tibbers coming down from Edward right here. So much damage combined with Genja, and he blocks the hook with it. Mr. Rales though comes in from behind, and he can pick up the kill on Edward.
That was a very quick reaction as well for the flash from Impaler to get away from the Super Mega Death Rocket. So I think he might have been low enough there if one more auto attack would have come in to finish him off. Meanwhile, Darian coming down from the top lane, doing the race again.
Darian is just completely ignoring Mima in the top lane. He's just farming everything he wants to. Once he finishes his Blade of Ruin King, he actually has kill potential on Mima.
He's almost leveled that CS up. Heroes once again, the stun's coming down in bottom. There is the box being put in. Impaler is there, but Diamond's coming around the side. Who are they going to go for? Edward actually going really low. Is he going to fall? He's very low, and there is Riles actually getting into it, but it's Mixer that's actually low now. Diamond being chased down. Genja is low. Can they get the attacks in there? No, they can't. Here comes Moop. Barrel comes down, slams Diamond to his death. Genja is still alive on the turret here, but surely only a matter of time. There is the ultimate coming out of Riles, and it's 3 kills for nothing for the Super Hard Crew.
Super Hard Crew is playing so amazing right now. Impaler is doing everything right. He keeps coming bot lane. We talked about it before the game. He keeps feeding Mr. Rales. He is now 4-0 on Caitlyn. He's going to reach his late game potential a lot earlier than normal.
And we talked about how this pressure that Impaler puts on the bottom lane often leads to the Dragon straight after that one. We are going to see this one at 12.5 minutes going down. Super Hot Crew with a 2,500 gold lead.
And Super Hot Crew did exactly this versus Alliance as well. Put pressure on the bot lane. As soon as they picked up a kill, they went and took the dragon. They took 4 dragons to 0 in that game. If they can manage to do the same versus Gambit, probably one of the best teams at picking up dragons, they are in for, you know, extending their lead and in for a great game.
Now we see the individual gold between all the players, and 600 basically the difference between the AD carries there. Darian in the top lane, who's now 117 to 112 CS in the lead. That's changed hands somewhat. Also has about 850 gold over his opponent. But now Super Hot Crew are coming back down the bottom, and if this game's anything to go by so far, then it's probably going to happen down there again.
And there isn't actually much Gambit can do against it, because you can lantern the Sing Sao every single time. There's no flash on the bot lane from Gambit. They can pick up another kill. Diamond will most likely try and be there again though, or is he going to try gank in the mid lane?
He's actually headed up into the jungle, but this is funny because Impaler's come around at exactly the same time. Diamond now coming back towards this mid lane. He's pinged off towards Impaler, but he's already started to retreat. The bottom lane of Gambit even there coming up just to make sure that Impaler doesn't get around the back of them, even try and catch him out there, but in the end won't happen. But there we see Darian. Blade of the Ruin King now finished. He's taken the tower down. He's becoming a problem for Mima.
He will be a huge problem right now for Super Hot Group, because they will have to send 2 people up to stop him, and Gambit will then punish them somewhere else on the map. But I'm very impressed by Impaler this game. He's following Diamond around, or maybe the other way. Move's actually going in.
Wow, going straight onto Alex there, who was pretty quick to react, putting down the intervention on himself. We are going to see Darian coming in from the side. Alex going very low, but it won't be enough. Moops is taken out. It's Diamond that picks up the kill.
Moops actually just missed the barrel, otherwise he would have gone 1 for 1 and picked up the kill. Now instead, Gambit can try and push this mid wave.
And this turret should go down here. There's really not a lot left on it. And with Alexic and Darian both there.
Actually, coming in.
Impaler going in there. Alexic is going to fall from this one. Impaler picking up the kill, but Diamond is there. Can Mima stop Impaler from going down? I don't think he can. No, the damage too high from them. And Mima now being blocked left, right, and center. We see his ultimate's running. He flashes in. The Q's landed. But have they got the damage to finish off? There's another Q, but they don't follow in. They'll be happy with what they got there.
They'll be happy, but Alex completely underestimated the damage from Impaler at this point. He gave up I wouldn't even call it stupid, but a very easy kill from Impaler. Mimir came in. I'm sorry for calling him Mimir. It's actually the way you pronounce it in Swedish. But Mima came in from behind. Didn't manage to pick up too much though.
I think I'll use your quote from Warwick, which was, "I'm English, I don't care." So let's have another look then at that bottom lane.
Now, this is actually a good engage coming in from... Why are we actually watching it here? Look at the minimap, we just had a fight.
Yeah, the fight is coming down on that bottom side, and that was basically the exchange that we saw, just or didn't see, I should probably say, which is why we looked at it again down in that bottom lane as the action was happening in middle.
So we saw the old exchange while there was a new one actually going in the bottom, but nobody died from this one. Surprisingly, that Super Hot Crew can actually survive the all-in from any Jinx at this point, and it means, it shows how far ahead they are, even though Jinx is ahead in CS, and actually quite even items right now. Bit surprised.
Double barrel coming out there from Moops as well, almost catching Diamond, but Diamond successfully invading on that red buff. You can see that sat on with his double buffs. He needs to be careful though, because Moops is hurting at this point. One of those Sorcerer shoes in there, along with that Athene's Unholy Grail and a Doran's Ring as well. And he's starting to sting. Here comes Alex from the side though. Moops got his body slam up though. He'll be not too worried about that.
Despite Super Hot Crew getting the first dragon and having so much early pressure. Oh, great hook coming in from Mixer.
That's a fantastic hook, but can Rawls actually follow it up? They've actually got Impaler there as well, who will have to dash off to the minions. They managed to avoid the Flame Chompers, and they don't pick up a kill just there from that one. There's Moops just spotting Alex Hitch, but Super Hot Crew might try and have a go on this turret.
They have full vision of Diamond in the jungle. They can try and do at least some damage to the turret, but they won't be able to take it.
Yep, Diamond did start to come down. There's some really deep warding actually from the Super Hot Crew to keep that vision of Diamond up, and they can basically waste his time with those wards, let him be baited to coming into this bottom lane, and then just walk away.
Yeah, Gambit has no idea right now the wards are in there. Oh, they might collapse from Alex in mid.
Yeah, he's in a little bit of a sticky scenario. They're actually just headed up to the top, which is don't get anything wrong. That's Darian's jungle right now. The top laner has a jungle of his own on the top side of Super Hot Crew's map.
They decided to back out because they spotted Darren in their own jungle. They knew he would be in there for the fight. Impaler getting caught.
Yeah, this is definitely caught. As we see the ulti coming out on towards Darian. Have they got the damage to finish off? I think they might. Impaler actually dashing away there onto his own minions, onto the enemy minions. Let's see if he can get finished here by Darian, who actually is going to be feeling the pressure himself now as Moop's coming back in. What a flash from Darian. Safeguard comes out from Diamond right at the last second as well. And there's no kills from an epic chase.
But Darren is everywhere this game. He's taking all the farm in Super Hot Crew's jungle and he's keep making fights. He comes out alive from this one. He doesn't manage to pick up a kill though, but he didn't die either.
As he barrels thrown out once again from Moops to try and force Alex and Diamond away from this mid lane. That turret already lost. Funny enough, this bottom lane is the only lane where both turrets still stand, and that's where most of the action's been.
All the action's been down there, but at the same time as they had all the action, everyone actually had to recall after the small skirmishes because everyone got so low and they were so close, so none of them actually got to push any turrets.
Now, next thing coming up, in fact, already up there is Dragon spawning just a few seconds ago, and look at Impaler, he's down on that bottom side of the map already. In fact, even Mimer is there.
We're gonna have a 5v5 fight though. Gambit is moving down, they have vision on this, and they're ready to fight.
Already down to half HP. We've got Kale and Shyvana up on the top side, basically being blocked out right now. They actually come away off the Dragon. Impaler down to half HP. Ace in the hole, going to be blocked out completely as Diamond going low. Well, there's Darian diving right into the middle of them. It looks like they want to finish off Mixer. They'll get the finish on Mixer. Edward went low, and the kill went to Genja.
And right now, Super Hot Crew cannot take down the front line of Gambit. They can pick up whoever they want. Genja is untouched in this fight, and he's still dealing out damage to Moops.
Yeah, still auto-attacking his way through from this one, and Moops knows that he has to back away from it, and actually Flame Chompers coming in. They might turn around and have a go for this one. That's a big barrel onto Genja, and I think Gambit going to be happy with the Dragon pickup and back off.
Great fight from Gambit right here. They get the Dragon, everything they wanted, and they just showed to Super Hot Crew how hard it is to actually kill Darian.
Well, let's have a look at that fight here once again, and as you said, the big tanky front line of Gambit is a problem.
Tanking everything right now. Diamond helps him. They come in, manage to pick up the kill and Mixer right here, and they're actually not even close to dying. Only Edward, who were caught a little bit out of position.
Yeah, got blasted by that barrel, and Super Hot Crew after that trying to come in, but Genja is basically just zoning them out.
Genja hasn't been touched the entire fight, and there's nothing they can do to kill him right now. There's no ulti on moves. He can't even try and steal the Dragon.
They did think about going for Mimer there once they stood on that Flame Chompers, but in the end said, nope, we can't actually finish off the Big Mundo. However, Darian continues to be an absolute annoyance in the top side of the Super Hot Crew jungle.
And the longer this game goes, the stronger Alex will be as well. Right now, he isn't too strong. He doesn't have any kills, only 4 assists, but he has quite a lot of farm, and he's just going to keep getting more and more and more.
Super Hot Crew, you know, they had that gold lead for quite a while as that first Dragon was taken, but one thing we said in the pregame is that once Gambit get a lead in games and they know that they've got a lead in games, they tend to develop the pace of the game very quickly compared to a lot of other teams.
They've been controlling the last few minutes, mainly due to Darren being able to roam in Super Hot Crew's jungle, so whenever Super Hot Crew tried to make a fight, he would be there and he could join in for the fight, and he's very strong.
And he's not losing anything for it either. I mean, he's level on farm with Mimer, who's pretty much spent the entire time up in that top lane. So really good job for Darren, and that's the kind of position that he likes to play. Just ultimate freedom from his team to say, you know, go up to your top lane, come down to middle, take everything from their jungle, play basically however you want on that side of the map.
And this is why I like the Shyvana pick for him more than like the Warwick pick. Diamond's coming in.
Is he going to be able to get behind him though for the kick? No. We saw him putting down the ward and trying to get behind Moops, but that didn't quite work out for him. Moops would have been in trouble, you have to feel, from that, with Alexic waiting there in the wings as well. Let's have a look down some of the items, because we've not really had much chance to touch on them because there's been so many kills up until now. And in particular, the AD carries. Bloodthirster, Static Shift done already for Rals. On the other side, the Bloodthirster and, you know, Pickaxe and the Zeal in there for Genja.
I expect Genja to actually try and finish his last Whisper before he goes into more with his Seal, mainly because Gambit knows at this point it's all about killing Mimer and Impaler when he actually goes in. than actually going for, you know, more split push damage or more tower damage. They have enough split push already in Shyvana and Kayle. So right now, Jinx can simply just focus on trying to kill tanks and build for that.
They may get the turret here, SUPA Hawk. In fact, with May, they would have been able to, or will be able to actually, as Ral's just finished that one off. Genja and Edward had initially backed away to do themselves the golems, and Diamond, he's still having to think about that one. You see, coming in towards the river and then realizing that he can't get down to that bottom lane before they've already passed away.
Now, a thing to notice actually, while you see Mimir and Darien fighting a little bit up top, but a thing to notice, Darien has actually lost his CS lead. He was quite far ahead before, but due to all his roaming, he's now lost it. He has, of course, gained other stuff for the team, so it's fine.
Here we go, Flame Chompers coming down, and well, that's one way to stop a lantern guy coming in. Yeah, the TP is going to come down, and Moops is also wandering from that mid lane as Diamond taking a lot of damage. There's no turret there, don't forget. That went down earlier. The kick comes out to Mima, but there's the barrel from the push, and it will be a kill for Rawls. And Edward, he's not safe either. That's a good flash into stun, though, for him. But SUPA Hawk Crew, with 5 men down, they might go for the tower.
Such a great roam from Moops right here. He came before Alex, and he managed to pick up the kill on Genja with it. Darien actually going in.
He's going in pretty much alone from this one. Impaler's going to come from the side. Darien going low, but there is the intervention to keep him alive for a little longer. Mixer, oh, he fell very low, but he's not dead. Diamond actually came back in. He's going to pay the price of his life. There is the ace in the hole going through. Alex falls as well, and that will be a 3 for 2 in favor of SUPA Hawk Crew. With minions coming in, they can take this tower down.
They went for the 4v5 engage from Gambit's side. It almost worked for them, but SUPA Hawk Crew managed to pull back far enough and then start picking up the kills.
Well, let's have another look at that one here. They stopped Mima in his tracks with Tibbers first of all. That turret did go down. That's a dead turret, don't forget, but it was all about Moops to get it going with that barrel.
Yeah, notice Alex's position when all this starts. He's stuck in the mid lane. He's not going anywhere. Moops is already in the bot lane and can start this. But Gambit decides to fight this, even though it's 4v5. Look how tanky Darien is and look how much damage he has. He almost manages to carry this fight. But they survive through the Kayle ultimate, and now they can start picking up the kills, and Darien is too low. Diamond goes really greedy in for the kill right here, and actually ends up also killing Alex from that.
I think by the end, Mixer had about 1 health, to be honest. Not sure how he even got away from that one in the end, but he did, and that's the important part here for SUPA Hawk Crew. They're 10-8 in the lead. Look at the gold. It swung back in their favor, albeit by just a couple hundred.
Yeah, they managed to get both 2 towers bot lane from this. Oh, I mean, 1 tower and also 3 kills. The next dragon coming up in 18 seconds. I expect this to be so important.
Yeah. I mean, this game has just shown us that when things like the Dragon's going to come up, there's going to be a big fight for it. Last time around, Gambit were able to pick that one up and get a couple of kills for their pleasure as well.
Mr. Rallis has finished his last Whisper. He has a red pot and a red buff. He's going to be so strong in the next fight.
Now, Darien just clearing out the pink ward on the Dragon itself. There's one just around the corner there that SUPA Hawk Crew tried to get in. Raul's actually putting down damage onto the mid turret as well, and that means that Gambit have to at least reply somehow to that one as Diamond going straight through into the brush there, and we see the tanky champions at the front for both teams. Shall we go in? Shall we not? Is the hook going to land? No, it's not. Alex Ich gets hit with a barrel. There is the ace in the hole actually sneaking through. Half HP for Alex. This is surely a good start to a fight for SUPA Hawk Crew.
Perfect start for them. There's no flash on Edward. He can't flash Tippers for the engage, which means they need Darien either to jump in or they need Diamond to land his Sonic Wave and go in and kick someone back. SUPA Hawk Crew right now can poke and poke and poke and even maybe go for this mid tower.
That's what they're going to do. Mima just getting in there, tanking it up. He's got a Sunfire Cape and a Spirit Visage as well. And there is the tower going down. SUPA Hawk Crew picked that one up, and now they can move off towards that Dragon. Gambit a little bit out of position from this.
A little bit out of position. SUPA Hawk Crew has the good position, as you just touched on. They can actually push down the mid lane now if they want to, instead of keep trying for this Dragon. But seems like they want to go for Dragon.
They wanted to get rid of that pink ward that they knew was there quite a while ago. Dragon is finally going to be started off. Ultimates pretty much up across the board for SUPA Hawk Crew as Darien takes a lot of damage here right at the start. Mixer, he's going to get low as well as Tibbers comes down into the play. There is Alex Ich going low. He uses intervention on himself, and Impaler is having to try and escape from the top side. He won't be able to escape, but neither will Darien. Now, look at this. Mr. Roth fairly low in the fight. We still have Genja at quite high HP, but who are they going to be able to chase down? It looks like they're going to go for Mima. He actually flashes away underneath the turret. This is dangerous against a big tanky Mundo. It's Edward that's tanking all the damage up for now. It's taking forever to take down Mima, but forever is still a kill.
Mr. Rallis used the entire team fight on hitting Kale. Kale had ultimate on himself. He barely did any damage before the ultimate was gone, and then Darren actually jumped into his face. They did pick up 1 kill, but meanwhile this happened. Impaler died and Mixer died, and Gambit wins the team fight again. Oh, he died.
Yeah, he died. Ace in the hole. That's why you expect your teammates to be very kind and step on in front of it. I think Edward, he didn't expect to go down to that one. Let's have a look at that Fighter Dragon again.
Notice Mr. Rallis in the background, how he's hitting Alex all the time. Meanwhile, he's hitting him. He's all the damage right now for SUPA Hot Crew. We see Impaler dying, we see Mixer dying, and now when the front line is dead, there's nothing they can do. Darren almost survives this, but gets picked up by the ultimate actually from Moops.
Yeah, and then the back off, which Mima keeping a couple of them safe, and you can see down in the bottom left-hand corner of your map, SUPA Hot Crew are going for a Baron.
And it's only Darren and Diamond there to try and stop it right now. They might actually be able to force this one down.
Oh, this is going to be a crazy
Great
ending. That is a good flay back. And there is the Baron picked up by SUPA Hot Crew. Can they lock down Darien now? Actually uses the Blade of the Ruin King to steal that movement speed away from Impaler, I think it was, or Mima. Either one of them. That gets him off to safety. They don't lose any men, but that Baron goes to the SUPA Hot Crew.
Mixer flayed Diamond when he safeguarded to the ward, stopped him in his track, and then he got shot back by Moops. No chance for him to try and steal it. Great Baron pick up by SUPA Hot Crew, and they're 2k gold in the head, 2k gold in the lead.
And this is one thing that I'm really interested in now, is that we saw and we talked about how Gambit, with that Baron on earlier on in the season, I say earlier on in the season, early on in the days that we've had here. We're only 3 days in, of course. Once they got Baron, they just steamrolled through. SUPA Hot Crew, I'm not sure they're that quite far ahead as Gambit were against Millennium, but it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what they actually produce with this Baron buff on.
Right now, due to Darian split pushing and having the lane push up so much, they can't do much more than maybe Mundo trying to take the top tower. Alex is moving up there to try and defend it, but SUPA Hot Crew, while they have the Baron, they're not that far ahead teamfight-wise, especially because Gambit has such a strong teamfight combo.
And Mima just saw Alex coming in thanks to the wards that they have there. Spot Diamond headed up in the river as well, and SUPA Hot Crew may try and collapse in onto Diamond in the river. In fact, they've pinged on top of him, and they're going to try and get in there. Will they be able to get on top of him? The talisman was actually used there, and in the end, Diamond just walked off to the back of the Baron pit, and SUPA Hot Crew are just ignoring him.
They should push down the mid lane right now. Diamond is out of position, and Darren is out of position. If Diamond comes in from behind, they should be able to kill him before he can actually do too much. Oh, Mr. Rallis is already there.
Yeah, already honing in onto him, and he's got a red buff as well, which means the chance of him actually escaping is going to be pretty low. There's the ace in the hole coming through. Good kick onto Moops, but where's he going to go here, Diamond? He's able to escape quite a few times today, but that's a max range hook. Oh, the flay got away from, thanks to his Q already being over by the golems, and Diamond is going to escape, but can they get back quick enough to defend?
SUPA Hot Crew has to push the mid lane, but at the same time, Darren is pushing that top lane, actually bot lane. He might actually be able to pick up. No, Moops recall for it. Good move by Moops right here. Diamond has to recall and try and stop the push in mid lane from SUPA Hot Crew.
Well, that's going to be good for Gambit if they can hold this this middle inner turret after taking down an inner turret of their own up on or down in that bottom lane.
This was actually so great individual play by Gambit. They kited SUPA Hot Crew around on the map while they had the Baron buff. You saw Diamond actually forcing 2 or 3 people to try and chase him, so they didn't push anything. At the same time, Darren managed to steal the blue buff.
So a quiet period now maybe with that Baron buff starting to tick through. Actually, I think about halfway done by this point of things. There is the talisman actually used, and the barrel comes in. Genja, though, had already flashed, and if he'd not have flashed there, I think he was dead.
If he didn't flash, he was instantly dead. This means, though, for the next team fight, Moops can try and do the same, land the ultimate on him, and knock him into the team. Darren, on the other hand, he's just pushing away.
He's having fun up there on that inhibitor turret, I should say, in the bottom lane, but he's surely going to be forced to be called back here. It's 5 versus 4. There is Tibbers coming down, but Edward gets hooked in. He's not going to escape that one. Mixer actually picks up that kill, and Alex is hammering away at Mr. Rolls and Impaler, but I don't think he's got the damage. Oh, yes, he does. He flashes in there. and picks up that one. That leaves us at 1-for-1, but that inhib turret went down, and I don't think Darien managed to take down the top one. No, he didn't.
He didn't know, and now they can actually collapse on Darien. A bit risky fight from Gambit going in right here. They didn't have any big super tank to tank all the damage that they had before. They actually relied on Alex from the back, just hammering away, and he's starting to do a lot of damage.
Yep, got that Lich Bane now in with the Nash's Tooth and a Rabadon's Death Cap. That's where he really starts to stink. Not such great nuke potential and pushing potential, we should note at this point with that Lich Bane in there.
Yeah, if Gambit manages to win a fight, they can instantly push the wave up, and with Lich Bane on Kayle, you do so much tower damage. It is just a matter of time or matter of team fights before Gambit can maybe go up, take down an inhib from Super Hot Crew, and it's going to be even harder for them to deal with Darien in his split pushing.
And he is literally just doing what he wants right now. Seems like right now he fancies a bit of the dragon, and that's what he's going to get. And teammates finally coming over here to give him a helping hand. That's a freebie for Gambit.
Yeah, this is like Darien goes where he pleases. It's not Dr. Mundo, this is Darien. And he's
Dr. Darien.
Dr. Darien, that's a great name, I like it.
And actually, Ping Ward being taken down there by Impaler, but Diamond and Darien, well, they're just up on the bottom lane once again, and Darien's going to keep pushing it through.
He's pretty much been doing this the entire game, and it's creating so much pressure on Super Hot Crew because they can't send anyone who can kill him 1v1. They can only try and defend. If they want to kill him, they need to send more members, and then we just talked about the kill, how fast he can push up, and how fast he can actually kill towers.
This is an interesting trade right now. Darien and Mima, who's got the most damage, who's the tankiest of them both. In the end, you don't expect either of them to go down if they're just bashing heads 1v1.
They're just bashing on each other, everyone can pretty much disengage. But look at the movement right now for Super Hot Crew. They're going to try and catch Darien.
Yeah, this is interesting. Mima actually popping his ulti. He's going to land that briefcase in Darien now, I think, realizing, well, I've got to make a move, and, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to run into the enemy's base. I'm going to kill a few minions as I go and try and escape on the top side. I don't think he's going to do it, though. I might be underestimating Darien, though, as he actually is going to use a Randuin. There's a dash out from Impaler, but Darien is still alive. He's managed to get away from the briefcase, but finally Mima shuts him down, and, well, that's been a long time coming, Darien being killed, I think.
While they did have to use 3 people on killing him, Moobs stayed around the mid lane to push the wave out, made sure that Gambit couldn't actually punish them for this. Nice move by Moobs, and he's using the Gragas absolutely perfectly at this point.
I mean, it is always going to be hard to lock down a Shyvana #1, but when he got Blade of the Ruin King and that Randuin's Omen in there, certainly hard. And once he builds something like Aurelius Crystal Scepter, which, to be honest, we can expect from Darien at this point, that makes him even harder to track down.
Well, it is Dr. Darien after all.
Yep.
Simple as that. But let's look at the game right here, though. Super Hot Crew, they want to try and keep pressure on the map. They want to try and push some turrets. Darien is dead for another 8 seconds. They can actually keep pushing down this. Mima has teleport, so he can join the fight whenever he wants.
Yeah, and it is 35 minutes in there. We saw Darien's death time was pretty long. The Baron is coming up in less than 10 seconds time as we see him trying to steal off Blue, and actually does manage to steal it there. Nice play from Moops.
He had to use his ultimate, so he's not up if there should be a fight coming right now. But picking up the blue buff from Kayle is so good because Kayle needs the cooldown reduction for the team fight so she can spam out her Q more.
And actually, they know that here, Gambit. They're going for the enemy blue before at least started to move over there, but I think Super Hot Crew's positioning kind of pushing them away from thinking about going for that one. Baron is now live. And are we going to see the Super Hot Crew making another move for him? I still don't think, in a 5v5 team fight, I still don't think there's a clear-cut winner yet.
There's definitely not a clear-cut winner, but if this game keeps going, Kayle will soon reach a point where she can start one-shotting people. Yeah. And then I definitely see Gambit has the clear advantage.
Oh, Talisman used that by Super Hot Crew just to get away from the chase. Mima, meanwhile, is trying to give Dr. Darien a taste of his own medicine back and pushing out this bottom lane. Not going to be able to do any damage, or very little damage onto the turret just from those minions that came through. But with that, they see Shyvana's gone, Baron time.
And Shyvana has no teleport while Dr. Mundo has. So he's probably going to go back to bot lane, push it out again, try and force Shyvana to come down again, defend the wave. Meanwhile, they can try and force a 5v4 fight up at the Nashor.
Well, Gambit here, you can see the frustration of this split push scenario. Always a bit of an annoyance, and Darien has once again come back down into this bottom lane. The interesting thing is that they could actually catch one out, and well, just as I'm thinking it, it happens. It's Tibbers straight down on the head of Mixer. He's caught out in the death brush, and that will be Gambit here pushing around. They're actually going to try and get in behind them. Diamond couldn't quite get the target he was looking for, though.
And Gambit can pressure him. Oh, Edward going in.
Flash in from Edward. Rawls going very low. Alex Sitch is in there. Absolutely blows up Rawls, and that will be another kill going the way of Gambit. They're going to have to get away from this one because a couple of them have fallen low. Meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, Darien is fighting against Mima, whose ultimate is keeping him decently healthy. And the two super tanks decide enough's enough of that one. Let's back off. Gambit are going towards Baron, though.
But look at the burst at Alex already. He doesn't even have his DFG yet, which is most likely going to be his last. Actually going on Impaler.
Oh, I'm not sure how much you can... Wow, that was a lot of damage onto Alex. How many times you can be baited into this brush? It's happened twice here in the last couple of minutes. And Gambit start off the Baron, but are they going to be confident enough to keep on it?
I'm scared, though. This TP come in from Mima. They want to try and stop this Baron, and it's a good call.
And it looks like they will. Moops, though, has stepped on those Flame Chompers. That keeps him locked up for a little while. And Gambit, I think, have decided that this risk is not going to be worth it for them. They are currently 300 gold only behind our Super Hot crew. Or Gambit behind Super Hot crew, if I'm telling the whole truth about that one. And finally, we do see a couple of recalls coming in, healing up, and also picking up a couple of new items in there as well. The Spectre's Cowl for Kayle, and Randuin's now finished for Diamond.
Now, I've had nightmares about a kill like this. And watching him doing so much burst right now is really, really, really scary. And especially for Super Hot crew, because they know that no matter who runs in the face of Kayle at this point, can get bursted down pretty much instantly.
How do you stop that? That's the question that I've got for you then. My intervention obviously stops all the damage for a while, but after that, or before that even gets popped, how do they deal with him?
You need a Banshees, and then you need to try and knock Kayle into you, try and CC him. The only CC they actually have is the hook from Mixer, though. So Mixer has to land a hook on Alex in the team fight, or they can turn around and say, why don't we shoot Alex away from us and kill someone else? If they can manage to shoot Alex back and then kill Darien when he jumps in the face of Super Hot crew, they can actually win the fights.
Oh, there is another Dragon coming down, this time for Gambit. 62,500 to 60. Let's call it 2. It is now 2. 62. There's no real difference in this game in terms of the goal total as the pink wards start to get put down again by the Baron. And surprisingly, or unsurprisingly enough, really, Dr. Darien there at the front of things, getting ready to dive in.
And Diamond has really been annoying as well. He's constantly behind a Super Hot crew, ready to kick someone into the face of Gambit, who come in from Mixer, not hitting right now, but if he had landed on Darien and they had shot away Kayle, they could maybe have gone for something.
Trying to hook in there, and Edward going to take an ace in the hole, but that's the support, that's the squishy one right there, and he's not really taken, well, I say the squishy one, look at his items. GG.
Almost having a Randuin's, and it's pretty much, except for obviously the Gragas, but the one who's going to be hitting on Edward will be the front line, and only Dr. Mundo has the magic damage, and it barely matters at this point.
Now, another struggle for positioning here as Talisman is going to be popped. They're actually going to go for Alex Sitch, but Impaler is going to get absolutely hammered on. There is Tibbers coming down, and Alex manages to survive whilst picking up the kill, but Genja at the back, he's looking for a kill. He's surely going to finish off Mixer here. He only needs one more auto attack. There it is. He's now going to chase back around. Alex is still low, but they finished off Mima. Rista Rawls now is going to go one-to-one with Genja, who's got a Guardian Angel. You're not going to be able to win that fight, although the Gragas barrel from Moops did do the business for him, but Rawls is chased down in the end by Darien. What are they going to do? It looks to me like Gambit either Baron
Gambit
or
can
push.
Finish the game.
Push,
they can finish the game.
40 minutes
Look
now.
at the huge wave in the bot lane. They decide to go for the Nashor, though. The wave bot will take the turret for them. This was, though, the wrong engage from Super Hot crew. Impaler thought he could go in on Kayle, try and instantly burst him down. It was the other way around, and Impaler died so fast.
So very quickly. Actually, the recall was brought in there from Moops onto that bottom lane to alleviate some of the pressure, but they're losing Baron buff and a big chunk of gold, and a scary 4 minutes coming up now for the Super Hot crew.
Things will only get worse right now for them, unless, now let's just see the way they're doing it. Flash engage, Moops actually doesn't even do anything on Alex because he ultimates instantly, and Alex can just instantly kill Impaler. Mr. Riley's in the background using a lot of time on hitting on Edward, not exactly being able to kill anyone. He's pretty much the only damage right now because Moops has already used everything he had. This means that once Genji comes from behind, there's not really anything SUPA crew can do anymore. If they do not manage to take down the Kayle instantly, they're pretty much going to lose the fights.
And Moops did himself go very low in that last fight, and now this is where we're going to see how good, you know, that 4-minute finish was from Gambit against Millennium. If they can do it again here against the Super Hot crew.
They definitely have the tools for it. They don't actually even need to dive Super Hot crew. They can just focus on hitting the turret all the time. And if Super Hot crew decides to go for the engage, they can take the fight. They have the ultimate on Alex. It's about 30 seconds cooldown at this point, so you can use it when the fight starts, and then if the fight is long, you can actually use it in the end as well, and that is so strong.
Gambit, they're just like mid lane, bottom lane. What are we going to go for? Darian and Diamond, who have just been completely annoying, I think, for Super Hot crew throughout this game. They've not really had much chance to get away from them. Most of the time they've been running through their jungle, taking away all the minions, appearing where they definitely didn't want them to be. Actually, an Iceborne Gauntlet there for Darian. If he wasn't annoying before, my god, is he now?
Yeah, Darian, again, he does what he wants to do. He's now having a slow as well. He's very fast, he can slow you, and he has a lot of armor.
I thought Crystal Scepter, but you know, why not? He's going to go a little bit different from us. We can always expect that from Darian. When he's in his element, he'll pick up an item that you're just not quite ready for. Gambit sit here on the steps of the base of Super Hot crew once again. And we said it before, Alex, with that Lich Bane on top of everything else that he's got, is going to destroy buildings.
Now, Alex is actually staying out of vision right now from SUPA crew. He's waiting for them to do an engage with Impaler and just instantly killing him like we have seen in the last few fights. He could just go in though and do a few hits on the turret with his Lich Bane proc, and the turret's going down very fast.
Well, we can see there at the top side, Diamond is actually in the base, killing the top wave minions that are trying to come through here. So that lane's going to be automatically pushing here from Gambit's side of things. Edward waiting off to around the corner. Darian actually going quite far forward from that one. I think they were thinking about maybe going for it there underneath the tower. In the end, though, Darian decides, no, I'm taking too much damage.
Yeah, they just want, right now, they don't really want to dive. They don't feel too comfortable diving yet, but they just want to keep slowly hitting the turret, and at some point, the turret will go down, or Super Hot crew is forced to engage on them.
Diamond actually let the last wave of minions go through there because I thought that team fight was about ready to go. As we see a hook coming out from Mixer, doesn't land. Darian steps on a trap, steps on a second, doesn't care whatsoever. As Mixer taking a lot of damage here from Alex. And it doesn't look like a lot, but when it's a Mundo that tanky, that's actually a lot of damage that's been done to him there.
That is quite a lot of damage in a very short time. But look at the side lanes right now. They're actually pushing in the right way for Super Hot crew. They only have to focus on this mid lane right now, and they can just keep stalling it with Gragas and Caitlyn.
And they can't afford to really send Darian away from that one because a 5v4 at this point is something that Super Hot crew will probably take to try and get in. They've actually managed to lock up Darian here. Intervention going to go on him, and that means that he's going to get out. Look at Impaler, burst down. Oh, they're being shredded to pieces here. Mima, the other one on low HP. Alex destroys him. That's a double kill for Alex H. Rawls is going to be slowed down by the Randuins there from Lee Sin, and that is 4 kills for Gambit. Moops is the only man left alive, and Darian will make short work of him. Zonya's for a last bit of flair, but that's easy flame chompers for Genja. That is the ace, and that is going to be the game here surely for Gambit.
That was such a good engage though from Super Hot crew, but the ultimate from Kayle onto Darian, and with the fact they used everything on trying to kill Darian without actually doing anything on him due to Kayle, meant that they couldn't do anything, and as soon as Impaler tried to engage, he instantly got bursted down together with Mixer, and Gambit Gaming can pick up this game.
Solid win there from Gambit. And again, we said it before, once the Baron's on, Gambit do not mess around. And Alex, he got to that point, didn't he, where he's just too hot to handle. You can't really do that much about this Kayle, because even if you Banshee's Veil up the big hit at the start, his auto attacks just destroy you anyway.
This is why we actually see Kayle being banned away a lot. You can stall the game, or at least try and go towards the late game so easily in this new meta. The Kayle will pretty much always hit her point where she becomes the strong, and once she does, even though you did a perfect engage on Darian, you almost killed him actually, he just gets the shield from Alex, and he survives, and you just invested so much in nothing.
I have to say, though, it's not all bad news for Super Hot Crew. I think they started off really well. The bottom lane, if we talk about that, because there was a lot to talk about there. It was fight after fight after fight. But they did really well, bringing Impaler in with the Lantern, Rawls being his usual brilliant self down there. Some great hooks coming out of Mixer throughout it as well. And they shouldn't be too annoyed at themselves for that one. They might be annoyed at Dr. Darian, though. He's obviously loving the fact that he's just got to play a Shyvana that gets to do whatever he wants throughout the entire game.
And I love the way he played Shyvana. But, as you just said, credit to the bot lane and Impaler from Super Hot Crew.
Yeah.
They did pretty much everything right in the early game. They picked up the kills. Mr. Rales was 4-0-1, and they also took down a dragon from it. But sadly for them, they couldn't finish the game, mainly due to Darian just constantly pushing on the side lanes, and they had to always send someone back and defend, and every time they did, the whole push for them kind of stopped.
Yeah, and we saw them, taking that Baron. Gambit played it perfectly. They kept their distance. They tried to pull them off to those side lanes. Darian did all the work on that front for them, ran away when they tried to close in on him, and just waited that Baron out completely. It wasn't, I think, a point in the game where they could have won, but they certainly could have had the team fight at that stage, which would have then propelled them forward. So now Gambit, you have to say, after a bit of a shaky start against Fnatic, he's looking up for them.
They're looking very strong right now, but so is Fnatic, so losing to them is not a bad thing. Rocket lost the last game, so now Gambit on 3-1 might actually be able to take the second place by themselves if Rocket loses to Alliance in the next game.
If Rocket loses to Alliance, yeah, that's going to be another cracker, final game for Super Week here in Week 1. That'll obviously be coming up a little bit later on. But as you said, it leaves Gambit now just one win away from Fnatic. Obviously, it's Super Week, but you can't pull too far away from the other people, apparently, unless your name is Fnatic, where you sat at 4-0. And they could have a horrible week next week. Who knows?
That's the thing. I mean, we have seen, especially during the first split, a lot of ups and downs for pretty much all the teams. Like, they go 5-0 in the Super Week or 4-0 in the Super Week, then all of a sudden the next week, everything just goes wrong for them, or they don't prepare well enough. We've seen it. It's a long season, and nothing is decided yet.
No, just